All right, so we were playing blue-black control yesterday morning, and while the deck in and of itself didn't feel amazing, both Ugin and Shadow's Verdict feel like they're in positions in the current format that are very reasonable, and I wanted to rebuild or revisit here one of the decks that we had worked on at the start of the season, which was this kind of base black multicolor control deck. So this is a green splash, blue splash, red splash, base black control deck. So, most of our answers are black cards. Ugin and Mazemind Tome are colorless. And we've got a small green splash for Binding of the Old Gods to solve miscellaneous problems. We've got Negate and Behold as additional card advantage. And then I've got a red splash for Valki, as well as some Klothys out of the sideboard. And the real reason why, the mana base works in a deck like this is two-part. The first is that we have these triomes that give us lots of colors. And then the pathways are basically the same as basics, but they come on either side, right? Like, there's literally no downside to playing them compared to basics in this current standard. There's no Blood Moon or Burning Earth or anything like that that could impact them. So, if, these Clearwater Pathways or these Darkbore Pathways or these Blightstep Pathways weren't those, they'd probably just be basic lands. So our mana doesn't really get effectively worse splashing a bunch of colors like this. Another reason why the splashes work is because, for example, the red splash we don't really need till turn 7. The green splash we don't need till turn 4. And even the blue splash, honestly, like, Negate's not a card that we need super duper early. So black mana is what you always want to be looking for in your opening hand, which is why I believe our black land count is at 18. It's the highest of all of our colors, but everything else is a little bit lower. Yeah, we're basically like mono black control splashing into 3 different colors, which is one of the reasons why the mana is functional. So let's dive on into some games with this and see if Verdict and Ugin today end up being as good as I think they're going to be. A bunch of resubs during the deck tech there. Slooey, thank you for the 32 months. Semian, thanks for the year and a half. Loving the Magic content, especially the tournament runs. Almost 48 months. It has been a hot second, JMP. Hope you're staying safe. Murky, thank you for the 15 months. Morning, folks. Hey, Matt, welcome back. You can see here, Match 1, Game 1. Our mana is super functional. We have all 4 of our colors here. We technically need a second black at some point. So there's five colored pips that we need to worry about. 1 green, 1 blue, 1 red, and then 2 black to be able to cast all of our spells. And there's the extra black. Look at that. All right, so I think I'm just throwing Behold in the corner over here. Am I, or am I Heartless Acting this? I think I'm Beholding, just in case they don't have an untapped land for the Lovestruck Beast. Alright, so they're moving to attackers. The question now is, do I want to Soul Shatter or Heartless Act? I think because I have the Ugin rolled up to a possible Toski down the line, I just go ahead and burn the Soul Shatter here. This lines my mana up, so that way next turn on 4, I can Heartless Act plus. Well, I plan to do Jeskai Mutate with Open Omen Pass, so I need to pay for you to play it. I might put that in deck voting again today. Just thinking about it. Home Daddy's a little scary. Alright, so I think we start on Behold here. See what we find. Binding sounds kind of nice, huh? That'll let us kill Bone Crusher Giant. It'll let us ramp up into... Ugin. I think we're supposed to kill the Innkeeper here before it draws another card. We're taking at least 5 this turn. It's a pretty big hit. If they're the Dragon deck, we could be taking a lot. This is a Kudzu Mammoth though, right? Yeah, Mammoth would imply that they're usually not a Dragon deck, I don't think. We'll see. A lot of Naya variations. Scalds is pretty okay here for us, actually. So Scalds is a card that doesn't immediately add pressure to the table, and Ugin's a card that can keep up with the advantage from Scalds in the game as it goes longer. Like, we're taking 5 here, down to 13. I'm going to get to Binding to clean up this Bone Crusher Giant. Really hoping to draw a card that lets us play to the board next turn. And now I got to decide, do I want to play this as a land or not? So I have 3 more other lands in hand. This is getting us a land. So, like, even if I do this, even if I save this, I have guaranteed 8 mana for this, right? So I think I'm holding on to this for now. Nope, same microphone as always. I guess it depends on how long it's been since you visited the stream. Not different since yesterday. I did change my microphone out like a few months prior. Brushfire is very scary here. Haste monsters gonna get 3, 4, 5, 6. We're taking like 7 damage here. Yeah, we're gonna need to draw something live here. They have a Fabled Passage. It's very terrifying. It's for the 19 months, Mr. One. Good morning. Oh, they can't Bone Crusher or... Do they have nothing? That's good for us. I have red already, right? So I'll get Zagoth Triome. And then I think I'm doing this as a blocker. Alright, sure. Deal. And then we have Ugin mana next turn, right? They're gonna draw some cards. So we're gonna take... Wow, them putting the counter on the 3/3 is huge for us here. I really don't want them to put counters on the Brushfire Elemental. Is the Bone Crusher Giant lethal? They stomp this, they play a land. It's like, yeah, it's 1 over lethal. That's unfortunate. We need 1 more turn here. Close game. Needed 1 more turn. Needed 1 more piece of interaction early. Needed a another eliminate or something like that. Needed to find one of our copies of Shadow's Verdict. Ugin just a little bit too slow there. I wonder if this is a Valki out matchup. At least some number of them. Ooh, this is probably plenty of win conditions. Eliminate sounds great. Shatter to deal with Tosk sounds good. Well, they're on Henge. They might not be on Toski. I like this. Cut this and these. Bring in eliminates in this. Shatter versus Deadweight's an interesting thought. I think I'd rather have Shatter here. If I knew they were on Toski, it would impact how I was boarding. I think this is a Wilt matchup. I've got Binding to clean up Great Henge. Valki technically gets rid of it too. Control decks in general, what is an ideal amount of win conditions? If a question like that had a simple, straightforward answer, Magic wouldn't be a particularly interesting game to play, in my opinion. The answer is it depends. Depends on a lot of factors, such as the format that you're playing in, how fast do you need to close. There's so many things that contribute to, okay, how much closing power do we need? Something to, you'll saw I very quickly made the decision to play the Timbercrown Pathway on the green side here. The red is the least important color in our deck. We don't need it till turn 7 with Valki. Binding of the Old Gods also has the ability to find us our different colors, which is nice. Klothys is annoying. We'll need to get to Ugin before that kills us. I think I'm in for both of these. Maybe it's right to push looking for an Ugin. This, like I mentioned, we're missing red right now, but this is gonna find us red mana. This will find Ketria Triome. Go ahead, Red Pandas. Good morning. Huh. Opponent's build is playing Cleave. Does that change the dynamic of my Wilts out of the sideboard? Quite possibly. You have stepped on my face. How's that? Actually, the perfect draw. Eliminate. Eliminate. Drop the old Cosmic Imposter here.
So you've seen through my disguise. Surely you can handle a little pain.
We'll definitely want to scry with this turn. Want to get working towards the, not only finding Ugin to get rid of Klothys, but also work towards our gain 4 as quickly as possible here. We can dodge a haste creature, we can dodge a ball. Yeah, binding's fine. That's better than a random.
So many painful memories.
For people not familiar with how this interaction works, I can send this on an adventure, and then I get to cast the other side of it. I have to spend green mana, which we conveniently have. like having lots of colors. Hey. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm gonna scry looking for a land. I'd like to play Ugin plus hold up too. I mean, Alting Tibalt takes away Klothys' food like super temporarily. Alright, so with Cleave, do I want Wilt? Feel like the answer is yes. Feel like the answer is yes. Is Wilt better than Negate? Maybe. I could see that. We go down to 2, like trim a Behold, trim a Negate, get some Wilts in here. I like that. I do think, based on like the cleaves and stuff that we've seen on the opponent's deck now, it's probably unlikely that they're playing Toski. Like, there's only so much top end they can play, and they have Skulls, Cleave, and Henge. They're probably one of the older builds from the start of the season, which I actually think is a bit harder for our deck. I think one of the reasons why I wanted to try this build, this archetype again, was because I think these Toski builds are very soft to Ugin. I think there's some appeal to playing an Ugin-based control deck from that perspective. Morning Therapy. That's fine. It's technically missing red mana, but it's got removal spell, removal spell, removal spell. 2, 3, 4. Killing creatures out the door. One thing I think I need to make sure I do differently than I did in the first game of this set was I prioritized using Eliminate over Heartless Act, and I think that's actually incorrect, thinking about how their deck plays out. Both Scavenging Ooze and Showdown of the Skulls punish Heartless Act, so I think if you have both Eliminate and Heartless Act, you should prioritize using your Heartless Acts first in this matchup. So this was actually low-key a great drop, because this means if my opponent plays like a Skull this turn, not giving me anything to Soul Shatter, I still have something to do with my mana. Yeah. Which is great. So, before I drew this, I was going to have to decide between, did I want to do this or hold this? And now I no longer have to make that decision, which is lovely. I think we're just beholding this turn, right? I think is the plan. Hold up Soul Shatter just in case, but I imagine they're going to play some stuff to the board, and then Behold can help us dig towards Shadow's Verdict, which would be nice. Oh, they're just showdowning again, sure. Yeah. They're gonna lose the brush fire and draw a bunch more cards, sure. I live to please, Beansy. Looking for Ugins and Shadow's Verdicts here. Alright, so... land... Mazemind Tome. Pass. We may or may not Soul Shatter this turn. Could go either way. Almost assuredly scrying next turn, because again, just want to dig towards Shadow's Verdict. Ugin's a little bit slow. Verdict's definitely what we want in the short term. Zentoth, you're in the subs Discord server, right? Turn on notifications there. For reference, I'm the only person, our server is set up well because I understand technology, so like random people in the subs Discord server can't send you notifications. And is it worth playing this Soul Shatter to gain a bunch of life? I think so. I think my life total is really important here. Scrying versus drawing is about the same. If we just go ahead and take care of this Dorko. Obviously, they're going to get to stack extra counters in the Innkeeper now, but the Innkeeper can't attack this turn, which is ideal. Hello, Houseplant. Thanks for the 2/3 view. I appreciate the prime. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. But yeah, for reference, if you're one of my supporters and you're in the Discord server, we have different roles in there for when I go live with different games. So, Arena, Runeterra, variety stuff. I also tag those groups when I like change games midstream too. So like, for example, we're going to close on Ratchet and Clank, so if you would like a ping, like when we start a game like Ratchet and Clank, you can do that. They're drawing lots of cards here, so we're going to need an Ugin eventually. We want a, what's it called in the short term, a Shadow's Verdict, though. We get three shots at a Verdict this turn. If we find Verdict this turn, it probably buys us enough time to get to an Ugin in the long term. And then the question becomes, is Eliminate good enough? It probably isn't, right? Okay, with another scry and a draw, I wanna go deeper. Maybe I just need 4 verdicts post board. We're in games 1 and 3 here, where I'm just like, well, I need to draw Shadow's Verdict or I'm gonna die. Do I just tap out this turn and hope not to die next turn? I think so. I think that's the play. I think it's Cragcrown Pathway, bind the Rimrock Knight, and then I'm going to take this Behold the Multiverse and pay half up for it. So like, okay, do your worst. Next turn I get a Scry, a Draw Step, and then 4 looks with this, so I get 6 looks at a Verdict. Can we die to Cleave? They go like Lovestruck Beast, put a counter on an Innkeeper, Cleave, put a counter on an Innkeeper, Cleave hits me for 12, 16? I think I can only take 16 this turn. If they have Red Source plus Rimrock Knight, I die to a Cleave. I do think, and this is kind of the tough part about, playing a control deck, is that, you know, I decided to revisit this deck that I'm playing today explicitly because the Naya Adventure decks had kind of changed what threats they were playing. And now we queued into someone on the ladder here who's playing basically the beginning of the season's Naya list as opposed to the updated list that people have been playing in the recent tournaments. And this variation with Cleave is much harder for us to beat. The way our deck is constructed. Do not think our deck has a good matchup against the way this opponent's deck is built. I don't think it's impossible, but I also think it's like much worse than. Yeah, I think it's much worse. Like, we'd much rather our opponent be moping around with squirrels that draw cards rather than cleaves that kill us. And that's the thing. It's like it's probably just selection bias on the part of the decks that I play, but like. People keep building all of these adventure decks to just be like greedier and draw more cards. And like every deck that I play is just like, yes, please draw cards instead of killing me with Ember Cleave. So like for the love of God. I'm not missing it, but is there a % rank in the subs Discord for any notification? I need to add myself to all of them. I do not have a generic go live, no, Zentok. I think there's only 3 of them. There's Variety, Runeterra, Arena. There's technically a Moto Go Live too, I suppose. Hey, Cajun Guy. Thanks for the 32 months. Welcome back. Should we have Behold before our draw step there so we didn't shuffle our upkeep scryed cards back into our deck? Yeah, probably. I forgot the binding was gonna do that. What does Wellspring mean? What's the Jegnetha deck in this format? I'm blanking. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, this is the Toski deck, right? This is what I asked for. This is the Naya Toski deck. Most likely. Sweet. Yeah, this hand is very good here. Kill a thing, ramp to Ugin, Ugin to kill you. I think the Naya Toski deck is very bad against Ugin. Yeah, there are some red-black sack variations. I think a lot of the red-black sack variations have moved towards Rankle and Dragon, though. I mean, obviously, like the last person we just played against, there's people playing older builds or just builds that they personally prefer. So no guarantees. There's a lot of different ways to build a lot of the decks here. But I believe red-black has largely moved away from Wellspring in favor of playing powerful double colored cards. Yeah, I really wish Mythgard would hurry up and get the other codes out. Kind of annoying that they're taking so long. And then Nightmare on the play here, just really good curve. We get to kill their Innkeeper. We'll get to take a Scalds out of their hand, potentially. The Elspeth's Nightmare trigger this turn. I'll let us sculpt their game plan against their hand nicely. Might probably just playing another Nightmare out. So, am I... There's probably value in just binding this turn, so that way I get to Ugin and Valki sooner. And then we can kill this Clarion Spirit with Nightmare. Taking a couple of chip shots here, but not really a big deal. Once we have single red, we'll want to prioritize getting extra black sources into play. And then we have Valki uptick next turn, which draws us an extra card off our deck and their deck, giving us a good chance to hit the land for Ugin on time. Yes, the icons on the subscribers are basically an old style feudal system from the medieval times. You have a shovel to dig trenches, you get some boots, you get a training sword, you become a knight of Hoglandia, you get a steed to mount as a knight. You get a map marking your plot of land, and then a castle. More upward mobility than modern day post-capitalism provides. It's funny because it's sad. How many castles are built in a land? That's actually a good question. I don't know off the cuff how many 4+ year subs I have. You gotta make the tough decision, Beansy. Which currency do you want to farm? Yes, please attack my Planeswalker. Alright, so chat, what are we thinking? Concession Ugin? Feels like a concession Ugin. You think the opponent's a trooper? Let's find out.
You are too dangerous.
I think under most circumstances, Ugin's a concession Ugin against the opponent's deck. When they don't have a 4th land, it's definitely a concession Ugin. I think this is a Nightmare out matchup. Eliminate comes in here. I don't know how I feel about Negate versus the Squirrel build. It's like, maybe it's like leave a couple but don't have all of them. I think it's probably a realistic approach. I definitely want the dead weights against their build. Shadow's Verdict, obviously great. Maybe it's just all the negates out and just lean on sweepers and interaction. Because I think like Verdict and Ugin let us play through their skulls. I think there's enough answers to Planeswalkers for Ugin to feel fair and historic. I don't know that Ugin is good in any of the formats that he's legal in. Like, it's like fine here, but I don't know that I'd call it good. Ugin feel unfair and so I think Ugin is like pretty incredibly fair and standard. And something I've actually talked about on stream is coming back to standard is I was expecting Ugin to feel obnoxious and overbearing, and it really hasn't. I really was off base on my evaluation of what I expected Ugin to do. I agree I agree that Ugin is a card that can feel bad to play against, but like Magic is a game that's full of cards that feel bad to play against. But just like objectively speaking, looking at the things that are doing well in Magic standard format, Ugin definitely isn't one of them. It's like starting to pop up as a 1-2 of in the blue-black control decks that popped up recently, but like it's almost nowhere to be seen in all the decks that are doing well. Yeah, context is key. I agree that Ugin was a different story in an Uro Nissa format, but like, I think that format was bad for reasons other than Ugin. Yeah, Ugin's M21, right? So it was legal before rotation? Man, I will say this. Part of me feels like I owe some of the Magic community an apology because in I'm convinced at this point, having interacted with a bunch of Runeterra people, that all card game communities are largely the same. And I feel a little bit bad having acted like the Magic community was some special kind of silly. Because good lord, card game players are the same boneheaded, can't get through their thick skulls responses in every single game. And Reddit is trash regardless of what game community you're poking into it in. Maybe the really small game communities on Reddit are probably a little bit different, but like once you have 5 or 6 digits worth of people, it's the same garbage everywhere. There's definitely overlapping demographics. Yep, if you're looking to poke at other things, Rive, I'd encourage you to give Mythgard a try too. They're giving away their core set for free right now, and their gameplay is real good. You think it stops at card game players? I mean, people being medium definitely is a thing that exists in all communities, but card game players tend to be more pedantic in more specific ways, if that makes sense. I have a 2-mana piece of removal for this Redain, please. Man, variance is a bitch. That wasn't me using Twitter for reference, Swift. I don't use Twitter on my work computer anymore. Second Redain. Yikes. Okay, I guess we take Bone Crusher Giant. Rapid key typing. That's the other thing. So like, it's funny. One thing I've learned from the internet too, is that like people think that all typing quickly and anything you say with if you talk with confidence in your voice, you can only be upset and pissed off. And if you type quickly, you have to be angry because the internet just assumes everybody is upset all of the time. The number of times people are like, "Gosh, you're always upset." And it's like, no, that's just like how my voice sounds. This is just how I talk. It's how I speak. And it's like, well, you're typing very angrily. It's like, well, actually, I just type at 90 words per minute. Mechanical keyboards type angrily. Speaking as someone who didn't have a mechanical keyboard for a very long time, I promise you it's all keyboards if you type quickly. People thought my typing on my $10 throwaway keyboard was angry typing. Listen, to all you Zoomers out there that didn't grow up playing Type Racer on your computers. So the Heartless Act is interesting. I think I think I Heartless Act and then Binding here to signal I don't have a sweeper. And it also stems the bleeding, because this way if my opponent draws a land next turn, they don't pump up and smack me for a bunch. And then even if they play this other Redain, I can Verdict for 7 next turn. Type racer should be something that goes to the resume. To be fair, depending on the job you're applying for, typeset 100 words per minute is something you can put on a resume. Grizzla over Hugh, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. Perfect. Alright, so this is probably a concession verdict, and if it's not a concession verdict, it's definitely a concession Ugin following it up. Listen, Charizard, do you have children? I don't know everything about your personal life, but I'm pretty sure you don't have kids, which means you aren't allowed to make dad jokes. If you have children, I apologize. I will read your pun. Do I just want the 4th Shadows verdict in my 75? I feel like that's the only card I want to draw, right? Is it unreasonable to just play 4 of them? It is unreasonable to play 5 of them. Is it reasonable to play 4 of them? I feel like I'm in for a 4th copy. What do I want to get rid of? Just cheat. If you never cast the 5th one, they won't notice, right? I think I want the 4 Nightmares for the cycling matchup. I want to respect that deck. Extra Soul Shatter is probably unnecessary. There aren't that many Goldspan Dragons running around anymore. I could see Wilt being unnecessary today. There's a lot less Growl in the format. Wilt's pretty good against Mono Red though. We go first. They're showing Luris. Keep this. If they're playing Rogues, I'm going to concede. The Rogues matchup is unwinnable. They're playing Cycling. This Elspeth's Nightmare is very good. Verdict is like okay against Mono Red. Generally speaking, Verdict's pretty slow against Mono Red. Listen, chat, life is short. You should have fun playing games. So if you don't have fun playing a particular matchup, you should skip those matchups on the ladder. I don't really care about my ladder rank. The prize at the end of the season isn't really worth anything to me. I'll get to Mythic eventually because I play a bunch. Life is too short to allow yourself to be frustrated by things you're supposed to enjoy. There's plenty of big important things going on in the world to let yourself be frustrated by rightfully. Don't get frustrated by your hobbies. Don't do it. It's a trap. So, Yorion here, probably Sultimatum. We're going to want to be looking for our main deck copies of Negates ASAP in this matchup. What if frustration is your hobby? Well, I don't kink shame you, do you? As you will. Mark, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel today. I think I'm taking a scry here. Definitely into bottoming a land. Ultimatum's your auto-consumer. See, I actually, and obviously fun is subjective, so feel free to disagree. But I actually really like playing against Ultimatum on average. Ultimatum, basically, one of the reasons why I think this format is good is because Ultimatum has good counterplay against it in basically every color combination in the format. There's red, white, black, everything except green has pretty reasonable hate cards for Ultimatum. Double Shadow's verdict's a little bit sad. We might get Ultimatum next turn and die. Game one, with a control deck like what we're playing, you could definitely have a bit of a wrong half problem in a matchup like this, as you're seeing with our current hand here. And what I mean by that is we've drawn a bunch of cards here that are good against aggro, and we're currently playing against combo control. Cheers! Thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Matrix, thanks for the half a year. I finally kicked the Raid Shadow Legends myself. I uninstalled from my mobile and was about done with it. I did most of the game, and I was at a point where I wasn't going to be able to progress my account without opening new Pokemon, and it just takes forever. High variance to get the things you need in that game, or very expensive, so. How do you quit from the sideboard? Hit the escape button. Someone asked me if I'm happy that Magic's out on mobile now. Why would I care if Magic's on mobile? Can you explain? What does Magic being on mobile have to do with me? Okay, so get some mileage out of the Shadow's verdict at least. Get a scry in here. Yorion probably going to outvalue us here. It's usually pretty important that you see at least one counterspell trying to fight through Yorions with pieces of spot removals, like trying to put out an Inferno with a fire hose. I mean, so here's the thing, Pure Johan, that you and many other Magic players would be honestly, just humans would be well suited to learn. My lack of a desire to play Magic the Gathering on a mobile device shouldn't impact anybody else's desire to play Magic the Gathering on mobile devices. So no, I have no desire to play Magic on mobile. I poked at it a little bit out of morbid curiosity, but even if it was good, I don't really want to sit and play for an entire hour on my phone. If I want to sit and play a game for an hour, I'll play on my computer. Like, my having no desire to play on a cell phone doesn't change the fact that other people do, and that's fine. It's okay to let other people like things that you personally aren't enjoying. Yeah, the chapter 3 on this. Oh, wow. Okay. So opponent playing a very greedy build of Sultai here. That means we're gonna lose. Most of these Sultai decks have enough respect for aggro that they don't play. They have enough respect for aggro that they don't play copies of. That they don't play copies of what am I searching for? Yorion in their actual main deck. It's very, very greedy too. We get to bring in our counter spells, get to bring in our extra nightmare, we get to bring in Klothys. Honestly, this morning stream to start has felt like a good lesson in why, in general, metagaming in Magic, especially on a ladder, is probably a bad thing to do, and you should just play good decks that are proactive. Looking at tournament results and making decisions based on those and then queuing up and what actually happens when you play games are two very different things, right? Like building a deck with a specific subset of things in mind and then running into none of those things on the ladder is like pretty peak Magic experience. And we've talked about this on stream before, but there's actually a psychological bias in card games against respecting aggro and for overboarding your cards for other control decks. And the reason for that is when you lose to aggro, it's fast and forgettable. And when you lose to something like Sultai Ultimatum, it's often long and drawn out. And the long and drawn out game leaves you a much longer lasting negative experience in your mind than losing to aggro quickly. When you die to aggro, it's done in 5 minutes and you're like, all right, whatever. I mean, that's not even true of the ladder Hidden Flame. It's just true of games in general. Like, the ladder's not really any different than playing in a tournament. The actual answer is that, like, while better-tuned things will often rise to the top in a tournament, the idea that, like, those better-tuned things are the average case scenario is actually just wrong. In most situations, people are playing lots of different things. Wilt that, then we can negate this agonizing remorse. Card game, and this is like a generic card game player thing. It's not specific to Magic or any one game. People often overstate the degree to which metagaming is possible in games. They often like to act like, oh, there's this big brain thing that you could do to get all these good matchups and make sure things line up favorably for you. When the answer is that it's just like a variance-fueled shit show and you're hoping to get lucky is the answer. But it doesn't sound smart or make you feel smart to admit that I have no control over this for the most part. You just gotta hope to, like, play well and get a little lucky. Esmond, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Really hoping to draw one of our pieces of card advantage at this point. Counterspell's not terrible, but looking for Mazemind Tomes, Glimpses, Valkis, things that let us draw cards, ideally what we would like to see at this point in the game. Yeah, that's actually true, No Justice MTG. The formats that you can actually metagame in tend to be the formats that we widely accept as not being good. Because the only time it's really possible to metagame efficiently is when formats are so narrow, nobody wants to play them. Hey, what's going on, Danon? Thanks for the 31 months. Welcome back. This is a lovely draw here. Yeah, Hagak in Modern was a point where you could efficiently metagame. A great example. All right, well, I think we are planning to try and block with the Crawling Barrens here. Got a Heartless Act here, gonna try and shrink it. Yeah, the chariot is very good for sure. I think I want to scry with this because I think it's important that I get to gaining life with this as soon as possible. Drawing right away might have been wrong. This might be wrong. What's going on, Brame? That was like the best draw in my deck.
So many painful memories.
Can't cycle this from exile, so might as well play it out tapped. Well, the good news, chat, is Crawley B could block at 8/8 if they had a counterspell here. Sweet Shade Blaze. If the best way to poke into Mythgard to start, in my opinion, if you look in the play mode, there is a puzzles button as well as a single player tutorial. And the puzzles buttons are great. They're basically like, what's the play, or like checkmate in 1 or 2 style things, where they like give you a board state and you have to figure out how to win. They're really, really good at teaching you the game mechanics. I'm kind of back after a bit of a hiatus myself, Prime. Breaks are good. Magic's sweet right now. Bunch of sweet games. We're gonna be starting Ratchet and Clank at the end of the stream today. Excited to poke into that on PlayStation. Klothys early is real good here. Sweet. Well, the Mythgard puzzles Archon are like fully integrated into Mythgard's client, which is why I bring them up. They're excellent because of that. Also, because Mythgard is such good technology, you can actually create your own puzzles in their client and share them with other people. Because basically everything you could think of wanting technology to do, that client does. It's real good. Yeah, me too, Magical Caracal. Like, I know a lot of people don't care for the Soul type deck in this current standard format, but like, I actually like the games that play out against them a lot of the time. These matchups tend to have a good amount of back and forth, which is nice. Hey, Pseudo Pally, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Yes! Big agree that Dovin's Veto is a toxic card that made Control Mirrors unfun and uninteresting. It removed much not quite as bad as Teferi Time Raveler, but Dovin's Veto definitely removed a lot of the nuance and interesting back and forth in those games. Because one of the things that's interesting, in my opinion, in Control Mirrors and Magic is setting up board states where you push through key threats at opportune times, and there just being this firm can't be countered no button removes that nuance and back and forth to it. So, a small detail here, but in a matchup like this where gaining the life probably doesn't matter in the short term, I actually want to spread out which Mazemind Tomes have my counters on them if I'm not powering them both up at the same time, because should my opponent kill one of my Mazemind Tomes, I want to have the most card draws possible left over. What does it say about me as a Magic player that I like both Teferi and Veto? It means you're part of the large subset of Magic players that enjoys prison-style elements. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's a style of gameplay that's valid. There's a reason why Wizards of the Coast makes prison cards. Like, for every card that you hear people complain about that they hate playing against and feels bad, there's other people that love playing with those cards, and those cards are the reason they play Magic. Alright, do we jam Klothys here, only leaving Negate up? They're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'll have 7 mana next turn, but I have a Negate. So I'm a little bit... Oh, actually, I don't here because of the way I played my lands. I actually can't hold Negate and play Klothys. I needed to play a blue source. Yikes. Like, for example, there are people that enjoy playing with Oko. I guess I'm gonna have to discard to hand size here. Maybe this was wrong. Even if I play a card here, I have to discard to hand size. I think there's a good chance we see, like, take an extra turn plus a counterspell next turn, which probably means I'm dead. We're in a pretty bad spot right now with only one counterspell. Maybe worth considering. No, not at all, James. I'll be lucky if one counterspell means I don't die next turn. Having no plays into their 8 mana is awful. Pretty sure we're binding this nightmare. Make a mana here. Now, I'm technically shields down here, but they don't know I'm shields down. And the reason why I think it's correct to force this issue here is because if I don't take this off the table, they'll know that the shields are down. So they might jam here. There's a chance that they have big spell plus counter spell anyways. They jam and we die, but it is what it is. Yeah, maybe it was right. Maybe it was right to get the Behold going, because I needed to find another counterspell sooner. I could see that. Klothys generating extra mana has value though too, like we did on this turn. Man, our opponent is really good at drawing Kiora Best the Sea Gods. I think I need the extra mana this turn, right? I have 8 mana. I guess 9 means if I make a 9th mana, I can Binding, Nightmare, and hold up Mazemind Tome activation. Kill this before they can blink it. And we'll go ahead and do this. Now, one downside to playing this Nightmare is putting the Nightmare into play could force the issue on them jamming an ultimatum here, because they're going to lose the ultimatum next turn anyways. So playing the Nightmare could cause them to call our bluff on having a counterspell for their ultimatum. Is a possible outcome here. Boon of the Wish Giver. Sure. It's one I haven't seen in their list before. Sweet card. We have a couple of triggers here during our main phase. Think I'm making another mana? Yup. Okay. Oh, I did put up the wrong Jeff. We need more Jeff. We need both Jeffs. So I think we foretell this and then probably just play a tapped land here. So we've not cast any Disdainful Strokes this game. So if they go for a Yorion, I guess they give 2 Yorions. That they can cast both of here, technically. Yeah, they don't have anything worth negating, Charizard. We need Disdainful Stroke. Our play this turn is 100% Behold for Disdainful Stroke, which we missed on, and now they get to draw 800 cards. Fucking tease. Oh, magic. 3, 4, 5, 5, 9, 10, 11. So even if I don't make a mana, I'll still have 12, so I can Ugin Stroke Negate. We'll get rid of one of these. If that's not peak Magic the Gathering, I mean, we were like pretty likely to find one, right? We were, what, our first of 3 Disdainful Strokes was 30 plus cards into our deck here. Not that I'm counting. Are we dead? Ooh, this is a good thought. So if I would have made a mana here, I could have played around Counterspell plus Dispute. It's a good thought. Yeah, like here, right? Like, and that's, I agree completely with Therapy and chat. When people complain about the Sultai deck, I feel like they just don't like actually playing games of Magic. Like, against, it's not like you're playing against Rogues where your stuff doesn't actually resolve. Against Sultai, you have a lot of decisions that you make. Like a game there, I come away from more games with Sultai thinking about choices I could have made differently, whereas like against Rogues, for example, I usually go, well, they just had all their counter spells and removal spells and I died. There aren't really sequencing decisions and small choices to be making as I go back and forth. Opponent showing Wellspring, which likely means the Naya deck. I think we're going to keep trip removal here. I stopped and counted my mana, right? I stopped and counted my mana. I was like, okay, what is making a mana versus not give me permutations to play? And Dispute wasn't in the list of permutations I was thinking about. I think I'd play a tapped land here because I would like to be able to Nightmare on 3 or Soul Shatter here potentially, depending on what they do. Probably Nightmare though. You played a Modern League and got turn 3 Karned 4 times in a row and then got Blood Moon to talk about bad beats. That sounds actually pretty lucky to me because you didn't get turn 3 Karned 5 times in a row. It sounds like you experienced some of that famous Modern variety where you got to play against a lot of different things. Okay, so we're definitely doing this. The question is, am I killing Innkeeper or Clarion Spirit? I think I'm killing the Spirit because it adds more pressure to the board immediately. What's going on, Jink Tank? You found the right channel. Welcome to Hooglandia. Oh no, the Toscus with the mostest shit. Alright, well we have a Soul Shatter for the squirrel at least, huh? And I'll take your soul. Still taking a big hit in terms of damage here, though, huh? Okay, so we're basically on Verdict or Bust next turn, which makes me think that I definitely want the 4th Verdict in the sideboard, which we added, so that's nice. I think I want to gain 2 with this Heartless Act. Taking 5 here. So we got 3 shots at 3 Shadows Verdict. Super low probability to hit here. What are the odds, chat? What are the odds? We're 17.5% to hit a Shadows Verdict here. Three looks for Verdict. You can scry, I might have to keep 2. They have a Bone Crusher Giant? Are you about to get stomped? God damn it. I was like, we're technically not dead yet here. I get to kill something and I get to play a blocker. Feels bad, man. Negate is bad here. Definitely want this. Definitely want the dead weights. I want my eliminates. Honestly, I think we cut the Valkis in this matchup. Maybe the Nightmares are bad. Let's leave 2 Valkis. I can go either way on that. I mean, to be fair, if we hadn't died there, we would have had 2 more looks at the Verdict the following turn, right? And then we would have had the Mazemind Tome popped off to gain life shortly. Bone Crusher, pretty unfortunate draw there. They hit their 4 of in 1 draw while we had 3 looks to find our 3 of and missed. Sometimes that's just how it goes. Saying sweet. Need some lands. We get to behold this on 2 and then play it on 3. So we get what? We have 6 looks at our 3rd land. A lot of looks, chat. Personally, I'm excited to miss 6 looks towards my 3rd land. Holy gosh, chat! I don't know what to do with my hand. Someone tell me. I don't know where to put him. I don't know where to put him. Can you explain why Valki Tibalt is always played? Well, I would challenge your statement that Valki Tibalt is always played. Can you cite a data source showing me that Valki Tibalt is a super common popular card? Because my understanding of the format is that it's not super common, but maybe you have a piece of data that I don't that could show me different. I believe it's just Sultai Ultimatum plays that card. Which one deck playing something is pretty far from everything. Red black mid ranged. I guess sometimes they play that card. They could Toski us this turn. I don't currently have a Soul Shatter in hand. A lot of streamers playing Valki and I don't see the appeal. So, Valki is a card that draws... Tibalt draws 2 cards per turn when you plus it. Is the appeal. It's played specifically inside of the Sultai Ultimatum deck because you can cast the back half of it there. Yeah, real. I think the current standard format is the best Magic standard format has been since Guilds of Ravnica, then to 2018. Current format is very good. There's a reasoning behind not foretelling there. It just didn't matter. There's nothing they could play that I would eliminate. You're probably correct. You're technically correct that in a strictly optimal sense I should have, but It actually just doesn't matter. Like, too many Magic players spend too much time investing mental energy into things that are technically correct but ultimately don't matter. Like, here, for example, it's technically correct to play my things in my second main phase, and from a strictly optimal sense, I should change phases here and go past combat before I play my spells. But does it actually matter? No, it doesn't. Tell me, here's the answer this question, Conran. You're saying it's optimal because I could hold up Eliminate. What is a Magic card my opponent could play that would cause me to play Eliminate that turn? Answer that question. What card could my opponent play that would be like, yeah, have to Eliminate here? I think I'm supposed to kill Lovestruck Beast rather than Innkeeper here, because keeping my life total high is valuable. It could also be right to eliminate plus Mazemind Tome, but I kind of like finding a land next turn with the Ugin in hand. If I like kill the Innkeeper and they play Toski to enable the Lovestruck Beast, I end up real sad. Obviously, it feels a little bit bad that the Innkeeper got to draw a couple of cards here, but at the same time, like, the Innkeeper drawing cards doesn't matter against this Ugin. Whereas, like, taking 5 here could really matter. Yes, Ugin, that's exactly correct. Ugin is worth a lot of cards, so keeping my life total high after I resolve Ugin is valuable. Step on me, opponent. You know you want to.
I can work. Let's play a little game.
Let's play a little game. I like this play on the opponent's part. They're acknowledging the fact that this game is not about the Tibalt, it's about stomping my face, which is, again, why I killed the Lovestruck Beast earlier. Would have had to eliminate Redain. Nah, I could have just glimpsed in response. And then I could eliminate Redain on my turn. After getting more information about the cards I was drawing. Again, I didn't foretell that turn because there was nothing they could play that would cause me to eliminate that turn. Follow the heuristic, then decide where it matters. You will be a functionally worse card game player if you are simply blindly following heuristics rather than asking yourself the important questions about when this matters. You will lose more games just blindly following a set list of heuristics rather than thinking critically about when you're supposed to be doing certain things and when you're not. If Magic was a game that was as simple as finding heuristics and following them, it wouldn't be very interesting, and the good players wouldn't be meaningfully better than other players. And then they basically have next turn to kill me. Because if they don't kill me next turn, the Mazemind Tome's gonna pop off and gain us 4, and then we basically can't die. Why keep deadweight if we're wiping the board? Because they could have a follow-up Toski here, and Ugin's going to be at 4, and he won't be able to kill a follow-up Toski. Well, I guess Tibalt kills follow-up Toski. The actual answer is that it doesn't matter, and that this is a choose-your-own adventure book. I could let Twitch chat pick which cards we scry to the top at this point, and we would still win. See? My opponent agrees. We have the card in our opening hand that we always want to scry for, so we're gonna keep. Maybe like Twitch plays Magic against Sparky could be interesting, but Twitch plays Magic against another person just like wouldn't result in much. It would just be a bunch of people pushing the pass button. It wouldn't be particularly interesting, I don't think. That's true. I agree, Stark. I did specify Twitch chat could only pick the scries. I concurred that if I allowed Twitch chat to do more than pick the scries, they would have lost that game. Big mood. I think I'm gonna Valki them here. I think I want to stop a Toski next turn. I think I want to trade with Clarion Spirit. Nailed it. Okay, so now I get to play a land. Actually, maybe I just take the hit here. And then next turn I can turn Valki into Toski post-combat, block with an indestructible creature, and then Verdict on my 5, keeping the Toski, right? Although they'll get to diddle the Valki. Oh, they're just not attacking with the Clarion Spirit. Okay, this is sweet. Alright, fine. We have a game, opponent. Wow! I didn't get their Alt Art Toski. Card is literally unplayable. File for comp, yeah, exactly. And now the unfortunate part here is their Toski blocks our Toski, so I don't get to draw a card next turn. Which is real sad. Hey, at least they extended into my sweeper some more, so that's nice. Alright, well now I need to draw a land. Nailed it. Okay, so now we just do this and then hit them and draw a card, right? It's not great. Not great. Need to try and survive to this Ugin here. Showdown is actually pretty good for us here. Because it means they're not putting more pressure into play this turn. Like, Wellspring would have been really scary because my Shadow's Verdict doesn't kill it. So I'm hoping to draw a land next turn so I can Verdict and then play Ugin the following turn still. Okay, and they didn't give us a target for Verdict, really, so we'll just attack for our 1 here. I think we have to. See what we draw. Deadweight. Never lucky. How do we feel about casting Behold here? I think I like it. I think it's just main phase Behold. That could, like, spike a Deadweight. Am I gonna die to Stomp plus them casting a bunch of spells next turn? If they have another Bone Crusher Giant, we're probably dead. They've only played 1 so far this game, right? Yeah. Stomp puts us to 6. This will be 3. They play another one. This will be 4. Our lack of a Mazemind Tome early this game in order to buffer our life total could definitely come back to bite us here. Okay. Eugene! The kids made a mess, Eugene! I need you to clean up! Look at that, chat. The Death Touch got us a card draw here, too.
It's fragile. Cherish
Yeah, the hidden chapter on binding there, chat.
reality.
Hey, if we don't get double stomped, we're in a pretty good spot. Oh, I pay Ugin way more than 15 an hour, chat. He's worth every penny.
My flames burn beyond. Always consider the consequences.
Goodbye, friends. Second Klothys could kill us here. Oh, actually, Yugin's at 3 now, right? We're okay?
My greatest creation.
Once more with feeling, chat.
Consider this a warning.
Thunk. This feels good, man. Well, Ugin, turns out Ugin confirmed good against the deck we wanted it to be good against. Would you believe it? That seems like a good one to end on. So, this deck, like, I feel like it accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, which was that it seems like it has the tools to go up against these adventure decks that are running around in the directions that they're going with the Toskis. This deck's always had a bad Rogues matchup, and the Sultai matchup is close. I don't think either of those two things changed with this latest iteration. You basically can never beat Rogues, and your Sultai matchup's like a coin flip at best. But I think if you're looking for a sweet Ugin-based control deck, I like this variation where you have better answers to things rather than trying to be like this hold up a bunch of counterspells deck like we played yesterday. We played blue-black control on stream yesterday, and I really just wasn't super excited about that deck. I think it's probably a little bit better against Sultai Ultimatum, but I think it's much worse against all these various adventure decks that are running around, like trying to hold up counterspells, especially when they're moving towards Toski, just feels really, really bad. All right.